Where are you in Florida?
We have a Boca de Raton. We have an office in there, and we have
Sure.
over 50 agents actually there. We're doing really well.
Wow.
We do have a smaller office also in Bal Harbor, and that's for now.
Sure. Yeah. More to come, I would guess.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, definitely not right now. Right now, we just kind of had to wait and, like every other company, take measurements to survive, right? To go through this.
Right.
But eventually, yes, of course, the plan is to grow, and become a international company, which we kind of are already, because we have now Canada, we have multiple offices in Mexico. We're doing really good. We have
That's
a
great.
Caribbean and Turks and Caicos. And, the idea is to expand more into the East Coast, go to New York, go to other places, and grow really. But right now, while this happens, we're just going to hold tight and keep what we have. And then as the time changes, then we'll start growing again.
Not such a bad idea. You're on Variety's top broker list for, I think, 8, 9, feels like about 25 years in a row. I know it's not that long. Your clients start with, one name: LeBron, Gaga, Larry. I told you, for Seinfeld fans like me. And you seem like you had some free time, so you decided to do a YouTube show, which is amazing. How to navigate through the storm, and you had James Harris on it, and
Yes.
I understand he's going to be on it again. Phenomenal guy. Tell me about this YouTube show, and how did you come up with this idea?
So look, I mean, I always have been a believer that it's important to give back. I always been a believer that I'm a big Tony Robbins fan. I've done all the tapes when they were tapes, and all the CDs when they were CDs in my car, and eventually now it's digital, and I've gone through pretty much all the seminars. I've gone to some of the seminars multiple times. Read all his books, so I am from his school. I like his way of thinking. I like to take action. I like the part of him that he has the positive thinking. He has all the way how you use your brain, but he also backs it up with real stuff. He backs it up with science, and he backs it up with facts. And I like the fact that he says you need to take massive action, because now when I talk about this and visualization and meditation and all the things that I practice, people ask like, well, I'm doing all that, but nothing's happening. And the reality is that you can't just sit down on your couch and meditate and think that people are going to come and drop bags of money in your front door. The opposite, if you just sit down and meditate on your couch, someone's going to come pick up that couch. It won't be yours anymore,
Right.
So the reason why I decided to do is because, like Tony says, the secret of living is giving. I truly believe in that. And I believe there's different ways to give, there's ways to give monetarily and support with contributions and stuff like that. But I think the most important way to give is to share your life experience with people, of things that have worked for me, for example, and share it with people. And for some won't work, or some of them work. But me sharing with people on what has worked for me, being an immigrant coming here in 2003 with like $120 and not speaking a word of the language, it makes me want to share that with people that actually live here. They speak the language, and they have a little bit more of the $120, and they know probably 10 people as opposed to 0, like what I did. So
Sure.
when I talk about it, and I don't want to come from a place like, oh yeah, he's told this story 100 times, so that's great. It's not about that. It's about, if I was able to do what I've done, having those conditions, I would want to think that someone that actually went to college here and knows a handful of people, or has relatives in here and speaks the language, should be able to thrive too. There's no excuses, and that's really the premise of how I started doing all this. So, one of the things when this started, everybody's gone through a lot of obviously days of like, you wake up and feel depressed, you feel bummed out, and they're telling you how you live your life now, and then you're cutting up a lot of freedoms. I mean, I'm talking about you can go to the beach. Thank God they open it up again right now, but you can go to the beach, you can go to eat in a restaurant. All those things obviously affects people's life. In the last 5 years, I've been teaching a class at the company just for the agency, right? And I did that just sort of like the same thing, just to share with my agents what they're doing. So I use the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And it's a book that I think is, I wish they will make students in high school read that book, because there's a lot of, and it's not just about money. It's not about becoming rich on money. But I think the book,
Sure.
if you read it right and you really understand the message of it, it talks about we control our mind, right? We control what we decide to think and what we decide to focus on. And that control on what we want to think or what we want to focus on eventually makes our feelings. And the way you feel is really everything, right? So I started at my office doing that, and it became very successful. So I recorded those, just in case to have them or whatever. Then I've been invited to talk in seminars. I've been invited to talk with my coach, Steve Scholl, and his seminars that he does as a guest, and then several other events. And I started developing a very, very, I get excited. I love talking to people. So when this all happened, I say, what if I open this up maybe for more people and not just, so I talked to my guy at the agency, and I said, why don't you set up a Zoom for every Wednesday for all the agents of the agency, that all the 36, 37 offices we have. And so they can all sign up, and I'll talk about this stuff, and I'll talk about like how I am dealing with these times, how I am. And I decided to name it, Navigating Through the Storm, right? Because we're going through a storm right now. And so I named it Navigating Through the Storm, or how to navigate through the storm in these times of being positive. And I started just picking random topics on what I want to do, what I'm doing when I wake up, what are the things that we should be focusing on, and all that kind of stuff. And I decided to open it up to my Instagram followers. So now I do it via Zoom and via Instagram. And then I took a little step forward, and I said, I'm actually going to record all this, and I want to put it in a YouTube channel, because not everybody might be able to join at the same time. So now I have a YouTube channel that is it's a Santiago Arana official channel, because I think I created one long time ago, like 10 years ago, and I forgot the password. And I've been trying to get a hold of YouTube in multiple ways to, hey guys, I'm the guy, I'm the original. Can we just delete those channels that I don't use anymore and I don't remember the password? And for some reason they can't help me, which is very unfortunate. But so I named it Santiago Arana official site or official channel. So that's my channel. And what I did is that I uploaded every single class that I taught in the agency for the last 5 years. So there's a number of videos in there. And in addition to that, I already had 7 episodes, which and the last one I invited James, which is a close, dear friend of mine. I know him from the moment he started. I mentored him and James in the beginning when we used to work in a different company. Then when I moved to the agency, they came with me, and we became really close friends. So I've seen the progress. I've seen what he's done. He's an amazing individual. So I invited him to come over. And next Wednesday, well, tomorrow was supposed to be my 8th episode, but I'm going to postpone it to next Wednesday because I have things to do. And I actually switched it to Thursdays now. And I'm going to do different time to see if that has a better audience. So, but I say my Instagram, if you look into it, it'll show when it is going to be. And one of the things that I did is I challenged James, because I know him. He's a very anxious, nervous person. So I said, I challenge you to come with me at 6 a.m. when I go to run in the ocean, now that they open up the beach again, and we're going to jump in the cold water. And he accepted. So it's going to be fun. We're going to film it and we're going to upload it. And I think it's going to be a fun thing.
Which beach are you running into?
So I live in the Pacific Palisades. So I just go down 5 minutes from here, and then we just jump right there.
Nice.
Yeah, I usually take a run all the way to Santa Monica on the bike path, and then I come back all the way here, jump in the ocean, and then just come to my house.
That's awesome. And you talk about Tony Robbins, and you said digital, and before it was digital, it was CD. I had it on cassette in my car. So that's
God.
how long.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
I mean, I know
it.
and a stack in a little box, and you went into each cassette. So you're preaching to the choir right now. Big time.
I love it.
Big time.
I love it.
Which you want to be when you were a kid?
What? Sorry?
What did you want to be when you were a kid?
I wanted to be a different things. I remember wanting to be a vet. I love animals, right? I used to have these encyclopedias that my parents will buy me of animals, and I love animals.
Sure.
I love watching like all sorts of animals and everything. So in my mind, I wanted to do something related with animals. Sure. Then that kind of faded quickly, and then I really liked architecture. I had a couple of cousins that were studying architecture. One of them, for a period of time, lived with us, with me, my mom, and my sister. My parents got divorced when I was 5, so I lived with my mother. And I saw him doing his, graphics, and then he was doing the little models of the little houses. And I just found amazing, like building something. And and I'm putting it together. So I wanted to be an architect until someone told me, yeah, architects don't make a lot of money anymore. Computers are replacing them and all this kind of stuff, and obviously we live in a world where money has become an essential thing to live, and not only to live and have a good life or that, but I think that money allows you the ability to develop yourself better. You cannot become a better singer, or you're going to become a better whatever your craft is, unless you have a little bit of money that you can invest in your guitar, or on a better equipment, or better this, or even invest on more education, and more reading, more books, doing more courses just to improve yourself. Somehow we need some money. So I switched from that. And then I say, you know what, I'm going to do something. I like being entrepreneurial. I want to be an entrepreneur. So I'm going to study business administration. And as I was studying business administration, I really liked the marketing portion of it. So I did a major on marketing too. So I graduated as a business administration degree with a marketing specialty. And then, I was 22. I was living in Bolivia, and the situation was pretty unstable in there. So I wanted to find maybe a place to go. I told my dad, I think things are a little crazy here. I don't want to get details, but it was crazy there. People are dying.
Right.
And the government was very unstable. So I said, what about if I go and do a master degree on something, and I can come back and can get better job with better, payment and everything. So he thought it was a good idea. So I got a scholarship to study in a kibbutz in Israel, funny enough, because he studied in a kibbutz. And I didn't grow up Jewish, but he was an exceptional student. So they gave it to him. And while he was there, living for a year and a half, and I was 1 year old, they were very grateful and said, we want to offer, if you have a son or a daughter, we'd like to pay for their studies in gratitude for what, I think he invented something or something in that kibbutz. So he remembered that 22 years later. And I'm like, I don't think they're going to remember. And he said, well, they will remember. So we went to the embassy, I remember clearly, and we walk in and we wait for half an hour, and the guy came out. It's like, oh, Mr. Arana, we remember you, and sure, we'd like to offer a full paid master degree in finance to your son. So I was like, great.
Wow.
And they're taking notes, and they're like, you want to take it in English or in Spanish? And I was like, sorry, in English or in Hebrew? And I was like, I don't speak any of them. Like, but literally, when I tell you nothing, zero, I couldn't go and buy a beer in English, right? So I asked him, I said, well, if you give me a year to learn and I'll come back. He's like, yeah, we'll wait for you. So then I start thinking, and I'm like, I believe that in order to learn a language or anything, it's better to learn by immersion, right? You need to be in it. So I said, if I go to classes here and I walk out of the classes and I go to talk to my buddies in Spanish, it's going to take me a long time. So I found out I had an aunt here living in Santa Barbara in California, and my mom called her and she said, yes, he can come and crash in my couch for 8 months, and I'll feed him and I'll give him a couch, but he's on his own. I said, great. So I moved here. I had $120, I remember. Packed my bag, got to California, ran out of the money really quick, so I had to get a job, and the only thing that I could do is either construction or something that I don't need to talk. But I went and I got a job in a restaurant in Montecito as a busboy. The manager greeted me, and he was really cool, and he was Brazilian. So I speak a little Portuguese, and I connected with him. He liked me. He's like, yeah, go and buy a blue shirt and black pants, and I'll see you tomorrow night. So I started working as a busboy. And then eventually I came to him because I was doing English at a nocturnal school for free. And I picked up the language, and I was like, look, I mean, would you make me a waiter? Because I think I can make a better money. I like people, and I think me talking to people and greeting tables and being a waiter are actually going to improve the sales, also the restaurant. And he got it. He gave me the opportunity. That's how I met my wife. I waited on her table, which is another whole story. That's probably not for now. The funny thing is, like 10 years later, he decided to get a real estate license, and now he works for me, the manager. So the full circle is just incredible, you know.
That's awesome.
So that's kind of like I don't know where we were going with all this story, but
what you wanted to be as a kid, and you said the money is important, but the money allows you to pay it forward, and you're a pay it forward kind of guy. Just listening to what you're talking about, the money gives you the opportunity to pay it forward. You can't pay it forward if you don't have something to cover yourself, and that's the takeaway from what you're saying and your story. It's unbelievable.
Thank you.
But
yeah, so
you
yes,
worked for it.
You're right. That's what I wanted to be. Is it was never super clear. I wasn't, you know, I had classmates and friends that they knew they want to be doctors or they want to be lawyers since we were in 5th grade, right? And they end up being that, and they are amazing professionals because they kind of had a
Sure.
clear. But I think the majority of people, they don't really know exactly what they want to be unless you have that passion of like a musician, or I want to be an actor, or an artist, or
Sure.
a doctor, or a lawyer. I think most people don't really know. You have an idea, or you might like the idea. You meet someone that is successful at something. It's like, oh, that's what I want to be.
Right.
But I think most people don't really know. And it's okay. I think it's okay to not know. I think it's okay to get out and go to college and study something and end up doing something completely different. I mean, if someone would have asked me when I was 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, if I wanted to get into being a real estate agent and sell, you know, real estate, I would say no, because in Bolivia, it's not something that at the time was anything to my interest, you know.
Sure.
But look at me now. Now I'm selling real estate, right? And the reason why that happened is because when I started to date my wife and became serious, I quickly realized that I didn't really want to go back. I didn't want to go to take the scholarship. I didn't want to go back to Bolivia. All I wanted to do is be with her, you know, when you fall in love. And I also started, you know, really loving United States. I love the way how the country is. I love the way that the opportunities that allows you to, like, if you really work hard and you know what you want, I still believe that this is the best country in the world, and I don't think I wouldn't be able to achieve anything that I've done in any other country in the world. And I travel a lot, and I'm from a different country. I know different perspective. Being born here and just being living here, sometimes you don't see on how great of a country it is. Overall, we have a lot of issues and everything, but the reality is that I've been in other place. I can compare to
go someplace else. Exactly. That's right.
Yeah,
Leave
so
and come back. Yeah.
sometimes
No
I hear
question.
people complain so much, and I'm like, guys, if you don't like it here, leave, and you'll quickly come back, you know.
You
But
come back, yeah,
that's a
2
whole
weeks.
different conversation. So yes,
No
I end
question.
up doing this because when I decided to stay here and I decided to get married, I was like, okay, now obviously waiting tables is being great and I make good cash, but I need to, you know, work for what I study, you know. So I translated all my degrees into equivalent in English, and I started to drop resumes and go in different offices and get a job. And I was getting offers, you know, here and there, which they were offering me really, really less than what I was making in the restaurant and cash on tips.
Sure.
And I was not only looking at that, I was like, okay, yes, but maybe that's how I start, but let's see how high I'm going to go in that, right? I mean, like, if I stay working for this company for 10, 15 years, what are the higher executives getting paid, and what does that look like? And when I was looking at that, it really didn't, you know, it wasn't something that got me excited. And talking to people, my cousin one day told me that I should look into real estate, and I looked into real estate, and I said, okay, well, what is the big players making in real estate? What is the potential, right? And when I looked at the potential, I got really interested, and I said, this is something that I probably can do. Got my license, got into it, and it was tough, you know. For the first, I want to say, 4 to 5 years, it was
I was going to say
very rough.
5 years. I was going to guess 5 years.
Yeah, and I was, you know, working in the restaurant, literally double shifts while I was doing real estate. And as I started to do better, as I decided to drop the restaurant because I saved enough money to carry for a period of time until my business starts growing more and more, the recession hit. And it hit pretty hard. And it hit to a point where, like, I literally started running out the savings, and I was like, oh my God, what do I want to do now? Do I need to go back part-time to the restaurant to get some cash? And a very interesting thing happened this, and I spoke about this in many seminars, and it's probably one of the most powerful, most important parts of my life. I had a lot of moments. I think we all have moments in our lives that they're very defined. And I remember jumping in my BMW 3 Series that I had at the time, that I was so excited about when I bought it. And I love that car. And I'm driving to Venice because I was like, okay, now I've done this already, so I can go and apply to the most expensive restaurants that close by my house, and I can make, you know. So I went to this restaurant in Venice, and I pull on my car and I fill out the application. And I'm about to get out of the car to drop it off, and something inside me told me, what the F are you doing? Right? It's like, what are you doing? And it was a very unique feeling, and it was a very unique moment. It was like the real Santiago came out and talked to me
Right.
and said, "You're not gonna do that. You're gonna stick to this, and you're gonna be successful." Close the door, and literally, I closed the door of my car, and I'm like, "If I'm gonna fall, I'm gonna fall forward. I'm not gonna go backwards." And right now, I'm
Right.
about to take a step backwards because of the circumstances, but I'm not gonna do that. And I literally jumped in my car and I went door knocking for like 4 hours to my favorite neighborhood. And that energy, because I can explain in any other way, I think it's an energy that exuded from the inside of wanting to do that. It was like that decision, it's like, gonna make it happen. It's almost like God, the universe, gets out of your way and
Right.
says, shoot, this guy is not gonna give up. He's made up the mind. Because, and one of these, I want people to understand is like, there are decisions you make. I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. That's all great. But when you make a decision of, I am doing that no matter what, and it comes strong from the inside, every cell of your body is 100% convinced that that's what you want to do. I believe the universe, God, or everybody has different beliefs, finds a way to give it to you, introduce you to the right people, to the right circumstances, to the right moments, to everything, so things align for you. And that's kind of what happened to me. In the midst of the crisis, I started to do better. My businesses started going up. And then by the time that the economy recovered and came back in 2012, my business just skyrocketed.
That's great. It's a great story. And like you said, it doesn't happen in any other country.
Nope.
That's the other point. What's the best part of isolation?
I mean, I think there's a lot of silver linings in isolation. I think one of them is you start learning about yourself a little bit more, because you're oversensitive about a lot of things. You're locked in a house with the same people for a long time. And if you're an active person like I am that likes to be out, it's harder, right? Because my job is to be out in front of thousands of people, constantly meeting people, dinners, lunches, and showings, and going around. And that obviously changes substantially. If you're a director and you're used to working from your home office, just typing or whatever, it might not be a big of a shock, but for me, it was a big change. So I think one of the good things of isolation is learning how to control yourself and how to learn to change and adapt. I mean, spending time with my children and my family and my wife has been a big time. I think I realized that maybe I don't need to work that extra hour, 2 hours at night, and I could come home early and go and do the walk of my dogs and the bike ride with my kids that I'm doing now that I didn't do before. Why? Because you get into this competition rat race, and you're just out there like, if I stay until 8, I can make 20 more phone calls, and that will translate into one more sale. But then you realize, but then I'm not spending that quality time with my children, that they're growing so fast. And eventually that I'm gonna feel bad about that, and can go back on time. So now what I'm learning, and I'm learning, and I say what I'm learning is because I still sometimes fall into like, maybe I should get my computer a little longer, because you can do that now. Technology allows you to do that in your home. But I'm making a point of like trying to spend more time with my kids. We're cooking, that kind of stuff,
What's it like to be a dad in a pandemic?
I think for me personally, I think it's an opportunity. I think it's a great time to spend a lot more time with your kids. I mean, they're doing school at the house, we're cooking together, we're hanging out, we're taking walks, we're riding bicycles. I think to be a dad in a pandemic is a great opportunity that we should all take advantage of it, because we don't know if we ever going to have an opportunity to spend so much time with our families again.
That's it. Doubtful. And no one saw it coming. So the fact that you're embracing it,
and that's what I think. You need to switch your thinking. Instead of being like frustrated about why this is happening, why don't you look at it as like, what if someone called you and said, hey, you're gonna have 3 months to just be with your family and enjoy them as much as possible, right? I mean, look at it as a vacation kind of thing, right? Obviously, we need to still work and try to make as much of the situation, but the way I look at it is like, they're not going to school, so you don't have to say goodbye to them at 7 in the morning and then see them at the end of the day. You can actually, you can still work in your office and your home, but at any given time, if you feel like going and giving them a kiss or going and taking a little half an hour walk, you can do that, which you normally can't.
No. And no one would, and you would never believe somebody if they said to you, guess what, you're going to get a 3-month vacation with your kids. You're like, what are you talking about? You know, this whole thing is so surreal that you never in a million years would have believed it. And now that you're in it, I question whether you'd ever give it back.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's that valuable. It seems like I know what's motivating you from the story and the way, you know, your DNA, what's keeping you grounded in all of this. It's a pretty crazy time.
It is a pretty crazy time, but I think that, again, I mean, the premise of doing that webinar, I can call it, that I'm doing now, is why don't we just stop? I personally don't watch the news. And people that know me knows this. When my first kid was born, I decided and I made a point that I didn't want to watch the news anymore. It was very confusing for me to see different channels talking about the exact opposite. And I started to lose confidence of what I actually been told on the news. I just felt that a lot of them were fake. And most important than anything, I just felt like they just chose to focus on what sells more, and is fear. I think the humans are addicted to fear. We are addicted to fear. And if you're going to be watching the news, what they're doing is they sell you that fear. They sell you the bad things that are happening, because that's what gets people's attention and to tune in more than the positive. So I made a point that I didn't want to watch the news anymore. I was going to be informed, and I was going to do research on the things that that matter to me. But being inundated with all bad things, it just made me unhappy. So now more than ever in these times, I refuse. I mean, I haven't turned on the TV and to watch the news in 12 years. So I'm not gonna do it just about now. You know, so I think that where were we? Sorry, I just got sidetracked.
What was keeping you grounded?
Oh, my ADD kicked in. So I think what we need to do is, you know, we can control the pandemic. We can control whether they're going to create the vaccines, whether the vaccines are good for you or not, all the conspiracy theories that are out there. There are too many. Some of them, they, you know, feel pretty legit, and some feel complete BS. So if you start wandering in that world, I mean, there's a lot of stuff happening right now. So what I'm choosing to do is kind of focus on the things that I have control over it. The economy, the real estate market, the pandemic, the vaccines, or what's out there, what's going on. I cannot really control it. But what I can control is the way I feel. And how you control the way you feel is by the way you put things in your mind, or how you control your mind and your thoughts. So if I choose deliberately to think of certain things, I'm going to feel a certain way. So I think that's for me what I choose to do.
All right. Well, we're going to get to some, I'm going to get to some real estate questions, because
let's do it.
That's what we're doing here. But I'm going to knock out some fun questions first. You ready?
Great. Yeah.
What's the restaurant you miss the most?
The restaurant I miss the most is Giorgio Baldi, Italian restaurant.
Where?
It's in Santa Monica. It's very close from my house. It's in the border of Santa Monica and Palace. It's actually, and that's a restaurant that almost every Friday, my wife and I go on our Friday night. So I definitely miss that.
I asked this question of somebody else from LA. So since you're a Santa Monica guy, I'm going to ask you the same question. Shutters on the beach. When I say that, what comes to mind?
Well, it can relaxation, you know, beach, sand, everything that's related to being on the beach, and it's almost like a little staycation, you know, to go to Shutters for a weekend. Do you feel like you got out somewhere else? It's pretty relaxed.
I feel like they inject happy into the water that they serve at the tables. That's what I think.
Yes,
what's your favorite? It's a great place. What's your favorite pizza topping?
Pizza topping. I had to say tomato sauce.
Works. That works. Roller coasters, yes or no?
No, for me, man. You know, people that know me close enough. You can pick the biggest guy in the bar, and I'll have no problem going and getting a fight with him. But you put me in a roller coaster. I mean, just to talk about you right now about roller coasters, I feel like my stomach is getting a little wheezy. Not for me.
But there's a roller coaster on the Santa Monica Pier. It's not even that big, and I tell you something, I was screaming my brains out. So I'm with you.
I do that one sometimes with my kids, and it's like as far as I go. But that's it.
That's as far as I go. And I was great. I said I did it. Check the box. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure. Are you a beach guy or the mountains guy?
Beach. I mean, beach and mountains I love, but I'm a beach guy. I love the ocean. I love the water. I mean, I love boats, ocean, water. I'm Pisces, so it makes sense.
That works out. Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
I knew I liked you. Have you ever made a TikTok?
I have not.
Neither have I. Do they make TikToks, the residents of your house? Do they seem to make TikToks a lot?
Yeah, my kids, obviously, they went through a
Yeah, I know.
phase. They're not doing it as much now, but they went through a phase, and yeah, I mean, maybe I'll do. Maybe you motivate me to do one.
It's torture. It's absolute torture. Where's your happy place?
In which regard?
Just in your mind, if there's one place that you can be that just gives you peace and happiness, where is it?
Beach.
Could be right where you are.
It can be where you are. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Sure. Could be right where you are. What's the first thing you want to do without a mask when this is all over?
Go to a movie theater.
Yeah. That's going to be
Go to
nice.
a bar.
All right, let's talk business. So, how are things? I mean, LA isn't New York, and count your blessings on that. What's it like? Are deals going on? Are people ringing the phone or emails? How is it going from a pure business standpoint?
So the first couple of weeks was very quiet. Obviously, like nobody knew what was going to
Sure.
happen, and everybody was kind of like in a frozen mode, right?
Sure.
But as the third week and things start to move around, you gotta understand that there are people, real estate people, that have been investing in real estate for many years, that they wait for these opportunities, right? They wait for these times to go and buy more real estate. So you make money in real estate when you buy, not when you sell.
Sure.
So the phone calls, of course, have been starting to get more busy in the sense where, like, all clients are buyers, they have money, they're like, hey, we're ready, we're ready. You see any great deals out there, just give us a call. So that's been busy. In regards to listings, I gotta say that I'm pretty busy, and I got 9 listings in the last 2 weeks, new ones.
Wow.
Which is a pretty healthy amount. I mean, that's almost as busy, or maybe a little bit more than what I normally am. Now, when it sales comes to sales, getting listings is one thing, but when it comes to sales, obviously is diminished a little bit.
Sure.
The amount of sales has gone down. I mean, if we're talking about Los Angeles level, the first, when was it? April. Yeah, the month of April, I mean, sales went down by 60 to 70% less of what it normally is. I think we're now back to like where it's only 40 or 35% less. So it's come back up. I think that what's selling, I mean, this is all in a deal by deal basis. Properties that are special, they're unique, they offer something that is very special are selling, and they're selling for good numbers. I mean, I had a property that was very special in Palaces for 26 million, and I sold it in multiple offers. I mean, there were more than 5 people they wanted to buy the property, and only 1 got it. So that means that there are 5 other people that are willing to spend that kind of money,
right.
even through the pandemic, right? It's just finding the right thing. So, but I think, we were past due to get an adjustment. I mean, the markets fluctuate. I mean, they'll go up and down. I think since 2009, 2008, when it went down, it took 2 or 3 years to, it's like a roller coaster. Talking about roller coasters, right? The market's at the top, and it gets to a moment when the top starts going down, and it goes down and adjusting, which it takes time. It's not going to be 2 months and you back up. So people that they've been talking to me, and they're like, oh, let's wait a couple of months and then we'll put back our house on the market. I'm like, well, I don't think so. I don't believe that if for some miraculous reason someone says COVID's gone, no one has it anymore, next week, we're not going to go back to where we were in January. Okay. Correct. It's not going to happen. Why? Because a lot of stuff has happened. I mean, we can talk about the unemployment rate. We can talk about how many people have stopped paying their mortgages. how many people make any money. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happen in between. So we're going to go back to an economy that's going to be very challenging, I believe. But I think the COVID, what it did is like in a market that we've been going up and up and up since 2012, which was supposed to find some sort of adjustment in 2016, 17. In 16, right before Trump got elected, we got a little bit of an adjustment like this. And as soon as he got elected, he, did things to the economy that got us to continue to go up at a smaller rate, but we continue to go up all the way to like literally the beginning of this year. I mean, one of the biggest sales happened, in history in Los Angeles in January. Jeff Bezos. You have like Murdoch that purchased a property for $185 million, a Laurentius house. So it went up more than what it should have. And I think the lower rates, interest rates, all the stimulus that they were doing into the economy help us sustain that. Not to mention that Los Angeles in the last 8 years finally has become a first world destination, right? People and investors that I talk to as a company owner, with my partners, we are associated with Savills, which is the largest real estate probably company and services in the world, and based in London. And we go once a year there to meet with all the, the agency is the exclusive representative for Savills in Southern California. So there are companies that are associated with Savills, and there are Savills offices all over the world. And all these head of owners of these companies meet. And I gotta say, since 2015, people were saying where people thought about United States as a real estate investment or where to own a home or something, it was always New York, New York, New York. That has changed. Now people are looking at Los Angeles, San Francisco, and New York. And I want to say now with climate change in the last 3 years, I start noticing a lot of clients of mine and people that I met moving. I'm talking about since 2017, 16 until now. Boston, Chicago, New York, just moving here, Technology allows them to work from this thing, right?
100%.
You don't need to be in Manhattan to do the stock market anymore. You can spend the same amount of money that you're going to buy in a flat in Manhattan on a house in Malibu with 30,000 square feet, and you can be waking up a little earlier, be on your laptop, by sitting on the beach. And I think a lot of people got fed up of working and because climate change become more extreme, now when it snows, it really snows, right? It gets really bad, and people get fed up with that. So all those things and allowing technology to work with whatever you are had made LA a pretty desirable destination. Yes, we pay more taxes here, but you also compared to the markets in Hong Kong, Singapore, what you pay in dollar per square for a house or for an apartment, we're still lower than them. It's rising, but it's not at those levels yet. So your money buys you more here. Yes, you'll pay more in taxes, but you can still do business and you can still enjoy a better lifestyle, I believe.
Paying more taxes than Manhattan?
I mean, probably similar to that, but the people that are moving from Boston,
torture here.
Chicago.
Oh my God! Oh my God! It's crazy here, and we're not. We could spend 5 hours on this talking about what happens after this. Where are we going to get the money to pay for all this?
Yeah.
Holy Moses! That's not a conversation for now. But the taxes, as they stand right now, are incredible. Listen, life's a short movie, and if you want to live on the beach, this is the time to do it. And like you said,
that's right.
You can run the whole business from this in a Starbucks. So
that's correct.
There's a lot you can do at a stool in a Starbucks. What's the point? So loud and clear. What you're seeing coming along? Do you have any favorite listings? You have a listing that you're like,
that's a tough question. Obviously, I have listings at whole different levels. I love. Most of my listings are very special properties. Some of them I like them for the fact they're in the middle of the city and they offer a lot of luxury, and there are other ones that are in Malibu that they just offer you tranquility and being on the beach. So I don't have a specific favorite listing right now, but I do have yeah.
And have you changed your business model? Are you taking the approach that you're changing as this is going, or are you just kind of pausing out, waiting for the dust to settle, and then you'll make your moves?
I definitely changed the model a little bit. I mean, obviously you are on the phone talking to clients more, giving them comfort. There's a lot of things that we cannot do yet. You know, I mean, people that know me in this business, I built my business through door knocking and sitting open houses, because that's where you interact with people. And those are
Sure.
two things that you definitely cannot do right now. You're not allowed yet by law to hold open houses. So we're just trying to find ways how to still reach out to people through different channels and different ways, and continue to do business. You know.
What do you, in closing, to wrap it up, what do you think the takeaway from all of this is? You know, if you can take a step back from a business standpoint and a life standpoint, what do you think the takeaway is?
That's a very, very wide question, but I think in the personal level, the takeaway is to maybe slow down a little bit. You know, take time to appreciate things more, and just slow down. You know, it's like find time for yourself, for your family, for whatever, right? And from the business perspective, and what the takeaway is find ways how to adapt your business to still making it work through the changes, you know, being flexible, I think
the story is amazing. Your story is amazing. I think what you're putting out there and what you're paying forward is just unbelievable. And, you know, to take the time to talk to me about that, I hope that everybody's listening. The number one takeaway is the story, because the story is just remarkable. And what you put into it every day, that's what it's all about. It really is. So thank you. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you.
Really.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for considering me number one. I hope that whatever came out of my mouth today is valuable to some, and you know, it's been a pleasure to talk to you, for sure.
I think it's valuable to all, and when the green light comes on, I'll be knocking on your office door with a real handshake or a real hug. Thank you so much.
That'd be awesome. I can wait. I can wait. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Regards to your family. Thank you so much.
Bye. I appreciate it. Same to you.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.